a concealed episode of my existence prior to matrimony. Greetings to all. I am Mia, born and raised in Virginia, a tranquil setting adorned with tree-lined streets and long rows of modest homes. During my formative years, I was mostly surrounded by the quiet warmth of my parents. My mother was gentle and kind. Her smile greeted me each morning as she prepared breakfast with love, a warmth that lingered long after she had left the kitchen. My father, though a man of few words, was steadfast and responsible. He worked hard to provide for our little family. Our home was simple, humble, but it overflowed with affection and familiarity. All that I remembered seemed flawless, or so I believed. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy true, emotional stories like this one. And please stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear changed the course of my life forever. At the tender age of 15, my world collapsed. My mother passed away suddenly after a brief illness, so swiftly that I struggled to even process what had happened. Her absence left a cold, hollow space in our home. I watched as my father withdrew into himself, barely speaking. Though we lived under the same roof, the essence of our family had faded into something unfamiliar and broken. Each morning I walked to school, and each evening I returned to a house that no longer felt like home. The kitchen looked the same. The meals were still simple, but my mother's presence was missing. The warmth was gone. It was just the two of us now. And the emotional distance between me and my father was growing wider by the day. Then just after I turned 18, my father remarried. It came as a surprise. But somewhere deep inside I understood. He deserved happiness. He deserved companionship. His new wife was gentle, warm-hearted, and sincere. She also brought along her son, Alex. He was a year younger than me. Quiet. Thoughtful. He rarely spoke, but there was a calmness about him that felt familiar. At first, everything felt strange, as though the life I once knew had been turned upside down again. I struggled to connect with Alex. Not because he did anything wrong, but because I didn't know how to feel. We were strangers, thrust into the same household, sharing meals, watching our parents build a life together. There were moments when the family gathered in the living room. My father and stepmother would chat about work or plans for the future, while Alex and I exchanged quiet glances across the couch. I didn't know what those glances meant at first, but over time I began to notice the small things. He would pass me food at dinner with subtle intention. He'd linger nearby in silence. And sometimes his gaze would hold mine just a second too long. It made my heart skip, but I pushed those thoughts aside. I told myself it was nothing, just an innocent bond between new siblings. But deep down, I knew better. There was tension, unspoken but undeniable. The kind of tension that doesn't belong between a brother and sister. I tried to ignore it, to force it back into the confines of propriety. But it kept growing. There were days when I found myself waiting for him to come home. Nights when I could feel my heart race if I heard his footsteps outside my room. And then one night everything changed. It began like any other. I was in my room when I heard light footsteps in the hallway. It was Alex. As he often did, he slipped in for a short conversation. We talked, laughed softly. But that night he didn't leave. He stayed. His eyes locked onto mine, intense and unreadable. The air between us was thick with silence, with something unspoken. I didn't push him away. I didn't tell him to leave. Instead, I let him stay. And in that darkness, we sat, two confused souls drawn to each other by a force neither of us understood. I had feelings for Alex. Real feelings. He was strikingly handsome, kind, calm. And I hated that I felt this way. I hated myself for it. We weren't related by blood. We lived in separate rooms on the second floor while our parents stayed downstairs. And somehow that made it easier to cross lines we should never have approached. That line was officially crossed the night our parents went on a trip, 5 days away. With the house to ourselves, we felt free. Too free. That evening, we sat together in the living room, watching a romantic movie neither of us really cared about. I had laid out some snacks, dried squid, fruits, a few cans of soda, just to enjoy a quiet night. Then a sudden scene on screen, two lovers locked in a passionate embrace. We both fell silent. I clutched my soda can tightly, my nerves frayed. And then he reached for me. He wrapped his arms around me. His kiss came fast, urgent, desperate. Years of unspoken emotion burst through in that one moment. I didn't stop him. I kissed him back. In that dimly lit room, surrounded by silence and shadows, we gave in. The tension that had built up for so long finally found release. That night changed everything. From that point on, we were no longer just step-siblings. We were secret lovers. We said little. Words weren't necessary. We lived in silence by day, playing our roles perfectly. But at night, when the house slept, Alex would quietly come into my room. We held each other. Again and again. It became routine. Intoxicating. Dangerous. I knew it had to stop. I even started taking birth control pills in secret. I feared what would happen if anyone found out, but I couldn't let go. A year passed. And then Alex graduated. He moved to another city for college. Our relationship, though still emotionally alive, came to a standstill. I missed him. Terribly. But I knew we had reached the edge of something irreversible, so I moved on. I found a job at a digital company. It wasn't glamorous, but it gave me stability. It gave me distance from Alex and from my past. Then I met someone new, a man who owned a successful hair salon. Calm, confident, gentle. The moment we met, I felt safe. He was everything Alex wasn't. He gave me peace. And for the first time, I felt like I could build something real. We fell in love. We got married. We now have a child together. My life feels complete. Normal. Happy, but even now some nights I wake up thinking about the past. About Alex, those memories haven't faded. They linger. Not because I want them to, but because they're part of me now. My husband doesn't know. He loves me deeply. And I love him. But a part of me feels like I'm living a lie. Sometimes when he looks into my eyes, I feel an ache in my heart. Like I'm hiding something he deserves to know. I've considered telling him, but I'm terrified. What if he never looks at me the same again? What if the truth destroys the little family we've built? But then again, what if keeping it hidden is even worse? And so I come to you with a question. If you were in my place, what would you do? Would you reveal everything, risking your marriage, your child's future, your peace? Or would you keep the secret buried, hoping it never rises to the surface? I don't have the answer, but maybe you do. Please share your thoughts in the comments. Whether you offer criticism or compassion, I will listen. 'Cause right now, I'm lost, and I need to know if the truth is worth telling, or if some secrets should stay buried forever.